It's been a while since I've given an update on the Jarvis windmill, and that's because I kind of put it aside on a shelf for a while. We were quite a ways away from the Missouri gathering in April, and now we're less than a week away, so I've pulled it back off the shelf and started getting several things done on it. As you can see, the control board is now pretty much wired. The only wire we're really missing, well, two wires. The positive wire from the wind turbine will hook up here, and then the negative wire will come in and come directly to this post on the battery. So the batteries, again, we'll just kind of start on the board here. We've got a blocking diode that I created a heat sink and mounted it onto the heat sink in order to keep the current from flowing backwards to the windmill and causing the motor to turn into an actual motor instead of a generator and turn it the wrong way. So this will prevent that backflow of current. So from there, I had to make a couple of switches and thought about buying some stuff, but I had some copper pipe laying around, so I just fashioned it into a couple of real simple, I'll kind of kid down here on the side, some real simple switches that are just kind of like a breaker to break the current. So you can see that's a turbine disconnect switch there. And the positive comes in and flows up to the positive cable of the battery. Then flows from the battery also through this line, you can see, up the board and across to what we have is the battery disconnect switch. And again, that's just a simple piece of copper that's been hammered out and heated and formed into the way I want it to make kind of a breaker. So that's the battery disconnect, and then it goes into the charge load controller, and that's all been set inside for the proper settings for the batteries and the bulk charge and float charge and all of that stuff. And then this is the dump load resistor. So whenever the wind is still spinning but the batteries are fully charged and the inverter is not being used, then the electricity will go and heat up this resistor here, and we can always add more onto that if we need to. So then also back at the batteries, then obviously you see they're tied together here, and coming down to a fuse, that's a 200 amp fuse right there, to the back of the inverter, which is a 2000 watt 4000 watt peak inverter with 3 outlets and the switch, and you can see the little green light comes on. The batteries are pretty much fully charged. I think they're sitting at about 12.5 volts. So that's where we're at on the control panel. It's pretty much done now. Everything's been painted front and back, labeled, so that the Jarvises kind of know what things are till they get used to it. Yesterday I did go out to my friend Doug's, who we tried a different series. The blades have been rough ground, but I need to do the finish work on them. They were rough weighed and brought down, so you can kind of see. We'll just grab one here. You can kind of see that edge, that trailing edge. Yeah, it's kind of a better view, maybe. It's kind of hard for me to see on the camera, so. But I've got some finish work to do on those. The hub assembly too, you can see it's been drilled for where the blades are going to be mounted, but I don't have this painted or sanded or anything ready for that to go. And the housing itself up here, you can see that's pretty much done. We got to paint it and get that all fancied, so that'll be stuff I do this week. We'll get that finished. This is a ground rod. I'm thinking I'm going to take that. I drilled, it's an old well rod really, and I just drilled through it and put a ground wire on there. Thinking we might want to run some grounds off the wind turbine tower and out of that charge controller. So just a quick update, kind of see that I'm back to the Jarvis windmill project, and we will hopefully see you in Missouri. Bye.